Hey team, welcome back to the wonderful world of Waikato Sheds. You've got Glenn here today and we are at Te Kauwhata College. We are doing an amazing new structure, awesome shed here. It's a big sheltered covered area for gatherings and we just love doing these sort of projects for schools. Incidentally, we did about 15 years ago, we did the caretaker shed that's just adjacent alongside us here, the Narawahia caretaker shed. And we're also doing a Tahuna shed, which is huge, a massive 700 square metre plus, what is it? It's a canopy or cover for a courtyard, I believe. So we love doing these projects for schools. We'll manage it from end to end, right from the reports, council, we'll handle resource consents and get it across the line for us, for our clients, for our schools. So before we get into the detail of this shed and all the specs and the journey, I'd like to introduce our newest member to our operations team, and it's Quentin. So welcome, Quentin. How are you, mate?
How's it going?
Good to see you.
Good. Yep. No, good to be out here this morning. Rain's luckily held out, which is nice. But yeah, it's good to be on site and just checking out things before things get going, I guess.
Yep. So the ground's been broken. It's looking fantastic. There's been a lot of earthworks here, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I thought we're introducing Quentin, so maybe Quentin, can you want to tell us a little bit, who are you, where did you come from, what are you all about?
No
what
worries.
What do you bring to the role and so forth?
Yeah, cool, no worries. I just got into the construction industry a few years ago as a project manager really, and just took the first opportunity that I got really, got stuck in and kind of found my way wanting to do something different and came down here to wonderful world of Waikato Shed. So it's great. It's now I'm part of the operations team with Shane, and we just look after everything after council pretty much, and obviously assist the sales guys when needed during that process and through design. It's good. It's good to be at a school. In my previous role as a project manager, I did a bit of stuff with schools as their project manager running these kind of projects. So it's good to be back on the school ground again. And I love working with schools and helping them, achieve things and making spaces for their
Cool.
kids. So yeah.
As you said, Quentin and Shane are really like I design and sell, me and Bronick, and then operations are really the glue or the conduit between just making sure all the resources, all the contractors, all the orders and all the materials and basically the construction comes together, and just nice and smoothly. And so they're a critical part of our team at Waikato Sheds. But on a personal note, I believe we have a little bit in common, both ex-high jumpers, many haircuts ago, of course. Both right wingers, again, a long time ago. And who are you with, mate? Who do you play with?
Yeah, currently playing, I've been playing with Hautapu down in Cambridge. Love that club. Been playing, I think third season just finished. Had a championship last year, which was nice. Got into the final this year. Love footy. That's my thing outside of work. Love sports really. Love watching the All Blacks. Pretty much that's it.
No Fraser Tech, of course, but hey, we'll let that one slide. And family man, young child. Lives in Temiro.
Got
strong Waikato fella.
Got a young 1.5-year-old now with my wife. Live out rurally and as you said, Temiro, which is nice. Sheds is one of those things that it's part of my lifestyle, I guess. Love a shed, love a good shed. So it's good to be involved in this wonderful world.
Awesome. So what can you tell us, where we're at, what stage in the construction? Obviously we've got some beautiful Gap 7 here. There's been a lot of excavation and earthworks. Shout out to Roy Nielsen, contractor. Roy's an absolute legend on the digger, an artist as it were when it comes to excavation and earthworks. But where are we at? What's the next stage of this construction? And tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, cool. So Roy came out here, obviously did his cut and a bit of fill, built up that area which was kind of sloping down, just made a nice foundation pretty much, and today he's going to get the bobcat out and level all of this Gap 7 that he's laid right at the top. So gone through obviously all the inspections with engineers. They're happy with what Roy's done. Obviously Roy's a great man. We've always using him and he knows his stuff, so we might talk to him a little bit later. It's just pretty much getting the prep ready, and then the next stage next week will be concreting. So getting the pad down and all of that, and then obviously following that getting the shed built. So yeah, it's the main part, getting this part so that we have a nice place and playing field to pretty much get started and
there
get
was
going.
quite a bit of earthworks, wasn't there? We heard when there was excavation, there was a phenomenal amount of truckloads.
Yeah.
We obviously reach out to all the local contacts in the area. That's part of it. Always, and that was really a testament to Jimmy. Jimmy's the property manager here at the school. He was the first person that made contact with me, wanting this structure, or this outdoor sheltered shed. And around here on the existing caretaker shed that we did about 15 years ago, there's actually a kitchen that they feed all the kids, and that's going to link. The critical part is we had an open bay of this shed. It's a 12 by 20, 240 square metre shed, and the whole idea was to link the food coming through. They feed all the children here. The whole idea was to nice and open. We've got roller doors that'll open up and have some open bays so kids can flow in. It's a nice gathering place, and they'll just sit here and watch all the sports events, like the athletics days and stuff like that. But also it's a good gathering. It gives you shelter from the elements, especially on a hot summer's day, and all the kids, instead of getting burnt, they can sit under here and have gatherings and stuff. So it's going to be a really asset to the school, and something in terms of functionality, it's something that I'm sure the school will be looking forward to. We wanted to get Jimmy on the camera and tell us all about the benefits of having this, but he's run away, like a lot of people do when we talk about a camera.
Classic caretaker, I think that is.
Absolutely.
The man in the background who does all the hard yards but doesn't want any of the credit.
He's the backbone, mate. The backbone New Zealand education system is the property managers and caretakers, and he makes sure the functionality of all the buildings and everything runs smoothly in terms of operations at school. So shout out to all the caretakers of New Zealand schools.
Sure. Yep.
We won't let them away. Hey team, we mentioned earlier Jimmy. We did a big shout out to Jimmy, the property manager here at Te Kauwhata College. That was the previous build we did 15 years ago, was it, Jimmy?
15, yep. Before my time, but great building. We built a kitchen inside this building, and it's a functional commercial kitchen. We feed 1,000 kids out of it. Great building.
Awesome.
Great team, yeah.
How long have you been with the school, mate?
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
4 years. So
you love it?
Love it. Love my job. Yeah. That was the right answer.
What's the benefit? Yeah, that's the right answer, mate. Hey, what's the benefit of the shelter that we're going to build? What do you think that'll bring to the school?
Oh, look, it'll bring shelter. It'll bring somewhere for the kids to eat in the sun, in the rain. Also somewhere for them to do their concerts.
Yeah, mate.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Really is. Add huge value.
Yeah, and we were just in the video, we were touched on how, thanks to you, you introduced us to a lot of the local contacts. We explored the idea of dumping the spoil into the neighbouring golf course. You're coming up with contacts for the fencing and all sorts. So thank you. It's always a team effort when we do these things, and local is the key. Eh? Yeah. We're a local shed company building for locals, and so thanks, Jimmy, for that.
Look, we like to look after our locals. They look after us. So and same with the Waikato Shed. So we thank you guys too.
Awesome, mate.
Yep.
There you go. He didn't want to be on camera, but he looks natural. Yeah, he's loving it.
Appreciate it, Jimmy. Cheers, eh?
Thanks, mate.
Okay.
Cheers, Jimmy. Yeah. Talking about people that are not shy on the camera, and that is Roy, of course, who we just touched on, that does all the earthworks. And whether we swing around and show Roy, but
hard at work.
Does Roy want to say a few words about this project? Tell us about how things are all going. Hey, Roy. Cheers, mate.
How's it going, Glenn?
Good,
Quentin?
Hey, mate. How's it going?
Not too bad.
Good to see you.
Yeah, well, this has certainly been an interesting one. You guys approached me and asked me to have a look at all this.
Yeah.
So I came up, done a site visit, looked at all the reports and everything like that. So as the engineering report stated, we had to dig down 700, but not only that, we shot from our highest point to lowest point, and we've got a metre build up in the corner there. So
never sounds much a metre, does it?
No, but when you start bringing product in, it tallies up real quick. About 10 truckloads, or 20 truckloads, sorry, of spoil taken away. Yep. Then I kept quite a lot back to bund around the outside, so to keep our material in place, because if we don't use bunding, we end up using product brought in, and that starts racking up the price. Yep. We spent 2 days trucking in, a day and a half trucking in brown rock, 750mm layer. Then underneath, on top of that, we've got gap 20, so we've got a 300mm layer of that.
Right.
Then on top here is what you see is gap 7, and there's roughly about 100 to 150 mil layer of that. Wow.
Obviously here we, I guess we had a plan and kind of looked at different options in terms of the spoil and getting rid of that. And we had a plan to go obviously just to the neighbouring golf course and dump some of that there. Unfortunately that didn't work out, but we were still able to find someone local, a farmer that was willing to take the spoil.
Definitely.
So do you want to just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, if there's a lot of spoil to come out of your proposed shed site or whatever, and you don't want it kept on site for bunding or landscaping or whatever, if we're a long way from somewhere where we've got to dispose of it, your costs start going up.
Yeah, right.
So if we working with you, or you're able to find somewhere local that will take it, put it up on your Facebook groups and ask around, because that will help bring the cost down significantly.
Yeah, because obviously you allow for like cartage and taking away the spoil to certain locations that are approved or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess that's one great thing to know. I guess if you're a client and you're looking at that and you know that your site's not level, there's going to be quite a lot of cut going out, or a lot of spoil leaving site, then I think it's probably worth thinking about those things in terms of where you can redirect it so that you minimise those costs. So that was the great thing with working with Jimmy. Again, caretaker, he hooked us up with that contact, and initially obviously was the golf course, but then slightly changed, and Jimmy still found someone correct and made it work. So I think that's just worth noting here, and we can do that. We can work in with other people, locals and whatnot, and make it happen. And that's one of the things for us as operations. We try and work in with the client and whoever else they need, and we're got different contractors with different abilities.
Exactly. I mean, and the whole thing at the end of the day is delivering a product that the client is satisfied with.
For sure.
And if we can work in with them to sort of make that happen, and also save them a bit of money at the end of the day, that's
a win-win.
That's a win-win, mate.
That's it.
Yeah, so this shed, I think I touched on 12 by 20, 240 square metres. We've got a huge door on this end. Well, I say huge, but 3 metres high, a nice big industrial series 2, 3 metres high by 4.8 wide, so that can be opened up, and as I say, there's a nice connection to the sports field and for when all the kids gather and there's events and stuff. Down the other end, incidentally, where there's 2 roller doors, or we've allowed for 2 roller door openings, and Waikato Sheds will install the 2 sheds that Jimmy and the team have currently. So that just shows you a bit of our flexibility, of design and working in with the client. So they've got 2 roller doors. 2 roller doors, I think I said sheds or roller doors. Anyway, they've got 2 roller doors. We're going to install those and the motors, and that'll be the other end where kids come in and people come in together. It's a high shed. It's it's 3.5 metres high, but obviously at the peak it'll be a lot higher than that. We've put clear lights in there to offer good light, so when you're gathered under here you can have a lot of natural light, which is cool. But another key thing, when you go really high like that, and especially this will help Jimmy out, it minimises maintenance if you put big gutters on and big downpipes. So we have upgraded this. I designed this at 175 gutters and 100 mil Marley PVC downpipes. So when you've got a really high structure and you've got small little piddly gutters and downpipes, nothing worse than having to get up there and clear out leaves, and there's a lot of trees nearby. So that'll minimise maintenance, and that was just something we think about when we're talking about the brief with the client.
Yeah, cool. And I think also I was here on site slightly earlier in the week before Roy started, just kind of setting out where the pad was going. Obviously the school kind of had a slightly different view of what was originally planned, so we kind of just shifted it a little bit and made it work for them, which was great to come out here and obviously get what they wanted really ultimately. But I believe that they're going to obviously extend that deck over there where the existing deck is, so that it just kind of flows, and that was the whole idea, is trying to have a flow between those two, the existing shed and this shed. And then obviously I believe they're going to build a big nice deck around the other side around here to kind of have a viewing platform of the fields and whatnot.
It'll be a nice outdoor flow here, so it's going to be great. We're not involved on the decking. It's about the only thing we're not involved in. But we manage the whole process, as I was saying early on. We included all the engineers' reports. We battled council. They needed a resource consent. We set aside everything for the Ministry of Education, not just council. So that's really that's our experience, and that's what we can bring to the table, is really managing it end to end, which is cool. So so any schools out there in the Greater Waikato, obviously we can help with your shed or your structure or whatever building you're thinking of. Actually that's for builds, but we can go further than that. If you're anywhere in New Zealand, we can actually supply a kit set.
Yeah.
So just give us a yell, reach out, Glenn, Jonesy, GJ, or Baldy, whatever you want to call me. Just give us a yell, and we can help. So yeah, what else? Quentin?
Perfect.
What else, mate?
I think that was mostly it. I mean, from an operations perspective, we're going to look to put up some site fencing school holidays currently, so hence why it's open and we're allowed to kind of work as is. No kids around, but obviously kids are coming back in a week's time, so once that happens, we'll have some site fencing, which I believe we'll probably look to use someone local. Shout out Jimmy again with all the contacts. He's set us up with someone who could do that for us, which will be great. It's always good to get the community involved in these kinds of projects, especially with schools.
That's a good point, though, that we've worked in with the our Build program. We've worked in with the school. It was essential that we started this, obviously from a health and safety perspective, but also it's not disturbing the school operating in its normal weekly sort of way, is to work in with the school holidays and get the majority of it out of the way, even though we'll be building the actual structure when the kids are returned. But obviously, as you've said, we're going to make it all safe, and that's a really important part of it. That's a real important part.
Yeah, I think it also just makes it a lot easier for us, as obviously with having, especially with earthworks, lots of trucks coming and going, machinery and stuff. That's when you're moving around the site the most. So I think that was the idea around trying to get here in the school holidays, get that smashed out of the way, and prevent any other disturbance to the school, and obviously working in with how they operate and limiting what we do to them and how they operate. So it's good to be on site this early and see things getting going. It's
beautiful base here, and it's awesome watching Roy. As I said, he's a bit of a master. He's an animal on this machine, but it's good to see it all in action. Hey, like always, when we're working with the client, talking about the shed, the design, the brief, I work with Louise. Shout out to Louise. She's the school manager. Louise, the principal, as well as Jimmy. And it was critical to design it to match existing structures, existing buildings. So they gave careful attention. I know the shed's not here, but maybe we come back and do another shoot. You can see the progress of the shed. See it come together, and you'll see all the things like I talked about, the big gutters, the big downpipes. How we build them, of course, essential that we bolt everything together, nice big engineered columns, no tech screws. Tech screws should be for cladding, not for columns. So we would look forward to coming back and showing you the progress of the shed and how awesome this will look. Thanks again, Quentin, for being with us, mate.
Thanks
Welcome
for having
to the
me
team.
Yeah, cheers.
Great asset to the team. It's been great seeing you guys here today. Great having Quentin. I'll leave Quentin with the final word, which is...
Great sheds done right.
See you guys.